Hello, distinction students. Welcome to our English online class. This is your tutor, Miss Cynthia Muyunda. So this video we will discuss the article, or rather article writing. How do you write an article? What are the things that you must do in an article? All right. So to begin with, we need to know what an article is before we can go anywhere. An article is a full written document or a literary work where you who's writing, or where the writer expresses his or her views on a subject matter. All right. So an article is a full written document or just a literary work where you who's writing expresses your views on a particular matter. All right. Then, where can an article appear? Where can an article appear? So articles may appear in either a newspaper, all right? The second place where they can appear in magazines. They can be also referred to as periodical publications. All right, so magazines are examples of periodical publications. Then aside from that, they can also be feature articles. Okay, so they can also appear in feature articles. So articles can appear in newspapers, they can appear in periodical publications. Okay, for instance, we can talk about magazines. Then aside from that, we can also see them in feature articles. So now we begin to look at what are feature articles. So when we talk about feature articles, these could also be a leading story in the daily newspaper. For instance, we normally see in newspapers a number of stories that have to do with sports. Okay, so these ones you can find them in the Post, in the Daily News, the Daily Mail, and other newspapers that you can get access to. All right, or rather that you can have access to. Then all articles for publications must be given a title, all right, which is written at the top of that paper, and they should be what? Underlined. So all articles, if it's an article, it should have a title which is written at the top of the paper, and it should also be what? Underlined. Then an article may take the form of a narrative biography, an interview, a report, or a discussion, all right, depending on what the writer decides. So the writer can decide to make it an interview, a report, or maybe a discussion. Now, let's go to the types of articles. So we have three major kinds, all right, of articles that you as a candidate is expected to write. So you can be asked to write either of the three, all right, one of these three. So the first one, you can be asked to write an article for a school magazine, or it can be an article for national newspapers. Sometimes it can be an article for international newspapers or magazines. So we only have three types. We have the school, the article for a school magazine, the article for a national newspaper, as well as the article for international newspapers or magazines. Now, what are those key things that an article needs? What are those key things that an article needs? So the first thing that an article needs is an eye-catching headline. What do we mean by this? An eye-catching headline, we mean, or rather, it should be a headline which may actually include a pun, not P-A-N, but P-U-N. It should also include an abbreviation or ambiguity. All right. So what do we mean by pun? So when we say an article should include a pun, we mean it should have a joke kind of a title. You can title your article as "Sex is Business," all right? You can mean to talk about something else, but you have just titled your article as "Sex is what? Is Business." So it should have a type of joke kind of title, all right? just to make sure that it is eye-catching enough for your readers. Then aside from that, we have also talked about your title should also include abbreviations, okay? So you should abbreviate your title as short as possible. Then we have also talked about the issue of ambiguity. Now, what do we mean by this? Your title should have more than one meaning. Let's take, for instance, this sentence. After the cat caught the mouse, it died. So the fact that we say it died, okay, now we don't know between the two, we don't know which one died. Was it the cat after it caught the mouse, okay? Or was it the mouse that died? So we don't know which one died. So this sentence has got what? A lot of meanings, all right? So there's that ambiguousness in this statement. Then aside from that, your title should have an opening, a key sentence, which is in effect a summary or statement of the main theme of your article, all right? And which also will contain the essential facts that your readers are supposed to take note of, all right? Or that your readers are supposed to know. Now, this one is rather like putting the conclusion of an article first, right? So once you have stated it, once you have stated your theme, you may start again at the beginning of your information, all right? And this one also, as you do this, you can actually make your way through to the end, all right? Then after the key sentence, what do you need? You also need additional paragraphs that will begin to provide facts and ideas which will develop and explain all aspects of the key sentence, all right? So remember that your article needs to provide a key sentence that will state the main theme of your article. Now, after you have provided your key sentence, you will need additional paragraphs that will also provide facts and ideas which will develop and explain all the aspects of what key sentences. Then, the paragraphs in newspaper and magazine articles, these ones tend to consist of one or two sentences, but your paragraphs should, in the main, consist of several sentences, all right? You may actually like to introduce one or two of them, perhaps with a word or a phrase that is lifted from the paragraphs themselves. Then, aside from that, you can also use quotations, all right, from the witnesses if your article has if your article is based on the witnesses' statements. Or you can also use quotations that are from victims, all right? If your article is based on what a victim wants to say. Sometimes you can also use quotations from experts or other interviewees that may be appropriate enough for your article, all right? So it is usual to mention each interviewee's name. You can also mention a witness name or a victim's name, all right, as well as other important details such as their age, their address, as well as their occupation, all right? So those are the few things that an article needs. So it should be eye-catching, it should have an opening or a key sentence, should have additional paragraphs. It should also consist of quotations from either witnesses, victims, experts, or other interviewees. All right. So now, in your article, you should aim to produce a well-organized, logical piece of writing in which all the aspects of the key sentence have been explored, all right, in a clear and factual style. So strive to make sure that your work is well organized. And then your work is logical enough in the way you have written it, all right? And then all the aspects that your article, so all the aspects in your article should have key sentences that have explored a clear and factual what? Style. Then how about, I'm sure there are those that are asking, do we sign or we don't? So now, when it comes to articles, of course, there is what we call signing, right? So we also sign, but not providing signatures, okay? So for a school magazine, all right, at the bottom of the article is where you who has written that article will sign. What is it going to be? Let's say you are Chokozile Piri, all right? So you sign just after the last word of your last paragraph in the article, all right? So in the next line, what you can do is you write your name, all right? Your name, then just underneath your name, you can write which class you are from. So that is what a school magazine. Then for a national newspaper, you write your name just under there, then your town, all right? That is for a national newspaper. Then for an international newspaper, you write your name and the country you come from, or rather your country. So that is it about article writing, as simple as that. So if you find any article in these past papers, you can practice. All right. So this is your tutor, Miss Cynthia Muyunda. Don't forget to subscribe. All right. So please go through the video as many times as possible so that you can understand better.